In part 1 of lecture 5, we are going to discuss storage basics. When I teach this class live and in person, I will usually ask students why they take notes. Don't they expect to remember everything that I say? And the answer, of course, is no. People forget things, and for that very reason, having it on paper is extremely helpful. This also applies to computers. Since most of our data and software is in RAM, which is volatile, we need a copy of it stored somewhere in a medium that is not volatile. There is also something else that becomes important. Computer memory is relatively expensive, and that has always been true. Every secondary storage medium proves to be cheaper per unit storage than main memory. So having external storage is not just helpful, it's almost always essential. There are two components in a secondary storage system that we must have and that we must keep in mind. The storage medium, which is the hard disks, the CDs, the DVDs, flash drives, solid-state drives, and memory cards. This is where we will actually store our data. We also need some device that can record our data on the storage medium and read it from there when we need it. That is what our storage devices do. When choosing a storage technology, there are trade-offs that we must keep in mind. Durability and dependability will usually go hand in hand. Neither of these would affect capacity or speed. But increasing any of these characteristics usually will make the storage technology more expensive. As much as we might want to, we may not be able to make it more durable, faster, and with more capacity without seeing the price go way up. Durability refers to technology's ability to resist damage from any one of many sources: temperature extremes, humidity, or dust. We can quantify it as average lifespan, or in terms of how many times we can write on the medium. Dependability means that we can depend on it, that it won't break down or malfunction when we need it. It also means that we can depend on the network on which it relies. The standard way of measuring dependability is mean lifetime between failures. That is how long we use it before, on average, it will fail and we won't be able to rely on it. If we are using a cloud storage service instead, we measure dependability in terms of uptime. Uptime is the percentage of time the service is accessible. When you are working with digital equipment, speed seems to be everything. The question is, how much data can we store or access per unit time? And we can also define data transfer, which is the number of megabytes per second that can be read from or written to the storage device. Capacity refers to the amount of data that can be stored on the medium. This used to be measured in kilobytes, then megabytes, and now gigabytes or terabytes. When we look at cost, we want to see it in terms of gigabytes per dollar or dollars per gigabyte. You are looking at an illustration that shows how you get basic information about your hard drive. You will see that the details are a little different for a Mac and a PC. In the case of the Mac, we right-click on the hard disk drive icon and choose Get Info. In the case of the PC, running Windows 10, we type storage on the Windows Start menu and select a storage device. We can see the capacity and how much of it is being used in both of these cases.